Look who came to visit. Black snakes are such gorgeous things. Well, snakes are, I think, in general, but look at him. 5 feet long, 6. I should probably make him move. Let me get my hoe. Now he might just curl up instead of move. Probably that's what he'll do. He doesn't like that too much. He or she. Oh. Alright, I'll leave you alone, buddy. This is that western meadow that I suspect is over a clay hardpan. But and it's another day. I'm going along working the stuff that comes down out of it onto the breast to make it higher and more fertile. But I wanted to point out this red. Now the blue sheen, that's called an iron sheen. And I understand that. I'm fine with it. The red must be rust. That must be coming from the iron as rust itself. I don't know. I don't see that just everywhere like I do here. I see it sometimes on this property, but so it's quite possible that underneath all that vegetation there's they did a lot of washing of iron ore. Probably they did. How they got the water here is a little, to wash it up there is a little puzzling, but I think I know where the source is. I suppose I should do one of those jar tests where you just put a bunch of that in a jar and shake it up and let it settle out. You see the gray that's on top when I hoe it out? That, I assume, is the clay. So there's like at least 3, well, probably 4 or 5 colors there. And that's the drain that I'm allowing to stay. I'm going to go along with the hoe and try to stop some of the others. Remember, I'm going to try to flood this as much as I can. Now there's another color. See that yellow? There you can see it too. Well, there, that's different from the gray, and I'm calling it clay. And there's a spot up the creek a little ways that very clearly there's white clay, and not a big vein of it. Here are some strong contenders for being the main drain for that swamp up there. 1, 2, 3. But I think I'll see if I can encourage them to go over to the one on the right that I already showed you. With the hoe. Today I've got the hoe here, not the shovel. A hoe is definitely the tool to be doing this with. And it takes patience. I'll come here tomorrow and I'll be able to walk better where I'm walking now. And the water will be running in a more controlled pattern. And the next day, the same. Just this, little by little, making a channel and bringing it up here to abreast of a zoysia. I'm even not that worried at the moment about making them perfectly on perfect contours. I can do that later. These trees, that's an elm. That I think is a hickory. That I think is either an elm or a birch. I am going to do everything to encourage them because they must have roots that make it down through that hardpan. Now that's an autumn olive. I'll even encourage that. There's a bigger hickory. That's encouraging. That boar, he's finding something to munch out at. It's probably the grass that's growing in there among the broadleaves. Now here and there I'm coming to old carpet. I had used that in an attempt to get this under control by what I called extreme mulching. It might have worked, but then I learned that pigs were much better. So as that stuff, as I hoe it out and dry it out, I've got another use for it. In the meantime, I'm working my way up, and wherever I see riffles like that, I block them off. So I'll see how deep I can get this in water. Here comes the sow to, or a gilt, I guess, to taste it. Here's another piece of old carpet. As I'm going along, I ask myself, is there any logic to what you're doing, Frank? And yes, there absolutely is. I'm trying to start level zonjas, even if they're really short. Now this one I started just now, and I'll carry it out until the roots get too tough, and I'll work my way up. Holding water back is what I'm doing. And I'm doing it by creating as many dead level nascent zonjas as I can, and blocking drains. I've worked my way up through the clay field. I don't know, I got to come up with the right name for it. But I wanted to show you this line of rocks. This is my doing. I had a fella who comes and works with me some now and then, Adam. There was a lot of this mine spoil, and I told him, we'll just lay it along that ditch, because I had started a zonja right here. And I'm happy to see it, because I like to lay stone. And you know, a terrace is so much more elegant in a lot of ways if it has a stone face on it. And I've got the material here, a lot of material to do some of that. I've reached the top, to the point where now, where I'm the result of my introducing the water from up above. It goes down through underneath and comes out in springs right along here. And now, see, now this ground is dry. This is fun. There's Molly. Now I gotta get a name for this place too. Maybe I'll call it these are weeds. People would call all of these weeds. Garden of weeds, maybe. Terraced garden of weeds. I work my way up through here daily, and I'm glad to see Molly's on it too, getting the grass and stuff in. She's not leaving the weeds alone. Now somebody else, I could do it very easily with the scythe. I could just mow these off, but I've learned better now. Those weeds are a good thing. If for nothing else, they're making shade on the ground around them, but they're doing a lot more. The bacteria, a couple of famous people, I have trouble remembering their names. They talk about the miners and the truckers among the bacteria on their roots that get the nutrients out of the rocks and bring them up. You'll be able to hear me over the wind, but this is a view where you can see how this is actually all manicured. There, I've got a hatch. I got to close that hatch. There's a big one right there. But and I guess I'll call it the Garden of Weeds. But vervain is what a lot of this is. I want to know all of them by name, but I'm not as good on what people think of as weeds as other plants. But vervain is most of this. Carefully irrigated weed garden. The real short green plant is smart